Hello all, my name is Emily, and I'm doing it. I'm on the bandwagon. I am doing the O.W.L.S Readathon. So for those of you who don't know, the O.W.L.S Readathon was created by G from the Book Roast and is based on the Hogwarts students' exams. So the O.W.L.S or O.W.L.S are the more basic exam, and the NEWTs or NEWTs are the more advanced exams. Basically, you're aiming for a certain wizarding career, and to obtain that career, you need some requisite subjects. So for this readathon, each academic subject at Hogwarts has a reading prompt associated with it, and depending on which wizarding career you want, you will pick a certain combination of those subjects or reading prompts. And when you read a book for that subject, it's like completing an exam. I will link all the supplemental material for this readathon below. Also, a good thing to know, this readathon runs for the entire month of April. So this video, in addition to being my Readathon TBR, is also basically my April TBR. I might add more books to my TBR depending on how I feel during the month, but this is my base April TBR. So organizing this TBR took, I think, way more effort than it should have. Basically, I picked a book that could fit for each of the prompts, and then I kind of prioritized which books I really wanted to get to, and then I kind of picked the career that let me read the right combination of books that I really wanted to read. So the career I'm going for is Metal Charmer. That seemed like the closest thing to the alchemist career without actually doing the alchemist exams, which you have to do all 12 exams. I wonder if Metal Charmer is kind of like being Mistborn. So for the Metal Charmer owls, you need Ancient Runes, Arithmancy, Charms, Defense Against the Dark Arts, Transfiguration, and 2 more subjects of your choice. So for Ancient Runes, we have to read a book with a heart on it. The book I picked for this is The Paper Magician by Charlie Holmberg. This is about magicians in the Victorian era, which I love. The main character is a girl called Sione who has completed her magical education, and she is sent to be a paper magician even though she really wants to be a metal magician. But then something happens and she has to rescue her teacher. I've had my eye on this book for a while and I bought it for really cheap on Kindle, but I never really got around to it, so I'm giving this book a chance. By the way, the books I'm prioritizing for this readathon are books I've had for a longer time and also books on my physical TBR. So Paper Magician is one of those books that I've had for longer on my Kindle app, so I'm prioritizing that. So the prompt for Arithmancy is magical qualities of number 2, balance/opposites. Read something outside your favorite genre. So I think the genre I read the least is romance, but I don't really have any romance books, and I'm not going to go out and seek out a romance book just for this readathon. So the closest thing to that is probably nonfiction. I actually have several nonfiction books, but not many physical ones. But the nonfiction book I do have in physical form is Cursed Britain by Thomas Waters. So Thomas Waters is a historian at Imperial College London. I actually attended a talk of his when he was promoting this book. This is also a signed copy. So this book kind of discusses the history of witchcraft from the 19th century onwards, but it focuses more on people who engaged in dark magic or black magic and cursed people for a living, and on those who believed they were cursed. It also discusses a bit of the social stigma and harmful consequences of either believing somebody is a witch or has performed black magic on you. A lot of abuses of magic. So when I attended Thomas Waters' talk, he didn't discuss as much of the principles of magic as I would have liked. I also hoped that he would actually discuss real occult organizations in Britain, which he didn't really do. But it was an hour-long lecture, so I guess it was only scratching the surface. But in any case, I'm hoping I can get a deeper look into his research in this book. Like, I do read nonfiction. I mean, my occult and tarot books, those are nonfiction, but I'm not used to reading nonfiction of a more academic nature. So this is something different and interesting, and I'm hoping it's good. And the subject matter is pretty appropriate for this readathon. Moving right along. So the next exam I have to sit is Charms. For this subject, we have to read a book with a white cover. So for this prompt, I'm going to read The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. This copy was actually given to me by my boyfriend's mom, and it has a white cover, so it qualifies. This book is about a town called Prentice Town where everyone can hear each other's thoughts. So basically there is no privacy and constant noise. But one day the main character Todd discovers a patch of complete silence, and that leads him to uncover some of the town's secrets. I feel like I'm pretty late to the game with this book. I feel like 2 more books or 3 more books have already come out. I think Sana from Books and Quills has read this and has praised it. But yeah, it's one of those books that I've been meaning to read but never got to, but this is an opportunity. For Defense Against the Dark Arts, the prompt is Grindylows. Read a book set at the sea or coast. I have a couple books that fit, but I think for this round I'm going to read To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. I think this book is a twist on The Little Mermaid. It's about a siren who is the daughter of the Sea Queen, and one day, under certain circumstances, she kills one of her own people. So as punishment, she is turned into a human and sent to live on land. And as part of her mission, she has to bring back the heart of a human prince. I think this book was pretty popular last year at Yalk. I think I bought the audiobook as part of an Audible deal or something. I'm a bit tentative about Little Mermaid retellings because the last one I read, The Surface Breaks by Louise O'Neill, was pretty disappointing, but I've heard a lot of people say good things about To Kill a Kingdom, so I'll give this one a spin. For Transfiguration, the prompt is Animagus Lecture, book/series that includes shapeshifting. For this book, I'm going to read A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. This is another booktube darling. This is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and I'm told this book has pretty good disability representation because the main character has cerebral palsy, and according to people on the Readathon Discord, one of the characters shapeshifts. So I have the option of 2 subjects of my choice. So for my first option, I think I'm going to pick herbology. So the prompt for herbology is Mimbulus Mimbletonia, title that starts with an M. For this, I'm going to read My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. I think this was the second ever book that I bought on my Kindle app. Apparently, this is supposed to be a fantastical, humorous twist on the Tudor family, or rather a twist on the history of the Tudor family and Lady Jane Grey. Lady Jane Grey was famously executed after ruling for a very short period of time right before Mary first executed her. So I'd be interested in how this book is going to spin that. I am always interested in fictional portrayals of the Tudor family. They were the first royal dynasty that I ever educated myself about. Many royal families are dysfunctional, but the Tudor family was particularly so. I have mostly read the Philippa Gregory books, as she's written a lot of historical fiction about specific figures of the Tudor family and line, but I'm down with a more humorous interpretation. It's cool. So I'm torn between 2 choices for my next optional subject. I will either do History of Magic, and the prompt for History of Magic is witch hunts, so read a book featuring witches or wizards. I have so many books featuring witches or wizards, you're probably not surprised if you've been watching me for a while. But if I pick History of Magic, I will probably pick Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. That is a book I have also had on my Kindle for a while. The other subject I'm considering is Care of Magical Creatures. The prompt for this is Hippogriffs, creature with a beak on the cover. So if I pick that one, I will probably read Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. This was sent to me in an owl crate. I've heard people describe this as Mulan meets Project Runway, and I don't really know more than that. But here we have a bird on the cover. I don't know if this is a falcon or hawk. I don't really know birds. So in addition to the standard wizarding careers, you can also pick from a set of certifications, basically extra stuff that you can add on. Oh, courses, seminars, and training. Yeah, that's what they're called. So there's 2 that I want to do. One is Animagus training. For this, you need OWLS in Arithmancy, Potions, and Transfiguration. Arithmancy and Transfiguration are already taken care of by the Metal Charmer career path. But then I would need Potions. So for Potions, we have to read a book under 150 pages. This is pretty easy. I have the Metabarons Volume 6 Dona Vicenta. Is it Vicenta or Vicenta? I don't know. But all the Metabarons books are between 50 and 60 pages, so I think I should be able to power through that. There's also a training called Merpeople Linguistics, and for that you need an OWL in Herbology. But Herbology was already one of the subjects I was considering as my Metal Charmer option. I would have thought Merpeople Linguistics would require something like Ancient Runes runes, but I don't know, I don't make the rules. But alternately, I could make my 2 subjects of choice history of magic and care of magical creatures, and I could make potions and herbology my extra subjects for those certifications. As you can see, this plan is very slapdash. A lot of things might change throughout the course of the month, but at minimum, I have to read 7 books. I briefly considered picking an easier career that I could aim for and then tack on more books so I could aspire to the harder metal charmer career. But I was like, I read 9 books last month, I am coming on 13 books for this month, surely I can read 7 books this next month. I generally have stayed away from this readathon for a reason, because it can get so complicated. But we are in a time of self-isolation, so I figured why not do a fun, more complicated readathon. So there you have it. This is my kind of all over the place TBR for the O.W.L.S Magical Readathon. Let me know down below if you are doing this readathon and what books you were considering and what career you're going for. Leave a like on this video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you like my content. You can find me on Instagram and Goodreads and Twitter, and I will see you in my next video.